Ready, 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 let's go. Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the ton. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi touch from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her unapologetically audacious era.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and ready, because we are deep diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers. I'm excited.
Tangent Squad, just like an ex returning during Mercury in retrograde, we slide back into the DMs of Bridgerton Season 3. Today, gentle listeners, we slowly expose the intimate parts of the engagement announcement and break open the wound that is Penelope's. The drawing room was rife with shock, surprise, a proud knowing, disappointment, and regret as our couple announced their betrothal, and we plan to savor each delectable.
Tell me why I'm such a nerd, because part of me was like, oh, it's really nice to take a break from writing notes, rah, 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 rah. But then I find chaos in going off script. I actually love writing notes. I love the excitement of like watching through all of those details and getting to voice note with you being like, look what I found. And then you're like, I found this. And I'm like, no.
It just brings
it does. So I'm so excited that we finally get to start on season 3, part 2, because I have been digging in.
I want to submit a request for an adjustment to our with all the platforms we're on now and how Tangent Queen thing. I think we should change effervescent ho to we are your official.
But I love saying the word effervescent.
But we can find another place to say effervescent. We can just say,
I am your effervescent neighborhood friend.
We are your effervescent tangent queen.
What's a really funky not onomatopoeia? That's not. I also really enjoy saying the word onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia.
I thought about it this week as we're talking about onomatopoeia and what things we find oddly
fun
and satisfying and whatever. Well, I was sitting there thinking this week, like, what is, if you were going to think about like all the reasons that you love Steven, right? What is the oddest, weirdest, like, I love this about you, but it really has nothing to do with him. He didn't plan it or control it or anything.
That's too broad a thing for me.
Well, so here's an example. I was thinking about it this week, that I think the universe told me that Smaug was a person I was going to love because not only are his initials a palindrome, but his name is alliteration.
Okay, so on that note then, there's so many things that, like, you're our retrograde, Mars rising, Jupiter's hanging out with Pluto.
Mercury retrograde.
I'm
Mercury's hanging out with Pluto.
Like, someone's got to hang out with Pluto, okay? I'm not into like numbers and those kinds of things. I find it curious, but like it's not something that I'm that's definitely,
it's not like a religion to me or anything. I just find it interesting.
Yeah.
That some things pan out.
But Stephen and I have just a freakish amount of overlaps when it comes to numbers. So our dads are actually born on the same day, which is fantastic because it means we have one barbecue on the same day for both of them and we just have everyone run at once. So whammy wham. We both have a brother named Jason, although his brother passed away. Not that this one's a particularly nice one, but his mum passed away on my birthday. We have just a lot of dates that coincide. And I feel like for those who have watched the movie The Butterfly Effect, like so many things had to line up in order for it to work. And I feel so lucky that even though I had to go through a pretty rough period to get to him, I think it was lessons that I needed in order to be able to appreciate him and everything that he was. So I would never regret.
Speaking of similar dates and dates overlapping, there's a lot of dates in my family, like my mom's birthday, for example, and that coincide with my ex-husband. And
Stephen's mum's middle name.
our divorce officially got filed on May the Star Wars Day.
Stephen's mum's middle name is the same as my middle name as well.
Wow, there's a lot of
Yeah, there's a whole bunch others, but like just off the top of my head, like those were the big ones.
those are some synchronicities.
Synchronicity. Yeah. Mum. What are our
So are we moving on? I was gonna say, are we moving on to pod snacks?
Pod snacks.
Pod snacks. Pod snacks.
Snackety snacks.
Talk back. Every time you say snackety snack, I think that yaggity yak. So today I just finished my dinner, which was homemade bacon fried rice. My mom, that was one of our po food growing up.
Was it like a sweet chili base? Was it like a soy base?
Well, no, it's soy sauce. It's fried rice, but yeah. Because I didn't have peas and carrots. My mom always made it with peas and carrots.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have peas and carrots, but I did have some stir fry vegetables in the freezer, so I did add a little chili garlic sauce to spice it up a little bit.
Mm.
And I had a leftover chicken thigh from dinner the other night that I needed to use, so I deboned that and put that in. So it was technically chicken bacon fried rice, and it was very yum. I had it for lunch, and
I made one for Stephen last week that was like a teriyaki. Like a honey soy chicken base instead of just.
Oh yeah, honey soy's good. I'm great at alchemy. You can ask Kay. Like whenever we go to Hot Pot and Korean barbecue, there's a station where you can like make dipping sauces and stuff to dip your meat in. I love alchemy. I'm really good at a stir.
You've seen my pantry. So my honey soy chicken, I do like my fresh honey from the farm, soy sauce, a little sesame, fresh garlic and powdered garlic, white pepper, because I don't like the black pepper. They're different. Black pepper is sharp. Lots of white pepper, a little bit of ginger because I don't like ginger, but I know it needs the flavor, but I don't like it being overpowering. And then
the ginger paste. It's less flavorful than the root.
Yeah. And then, but not as aromatic. And then Japanese sake rice, like a rice wine, and then mirin as well.
Yeah, there was black pepper all up in my fried rice.
No.
So I love
it gets in my all right, snackety snacks for me today is not black pepper. I had my my Macadies saw Bestie at the window. They're always excited to see me, and they're just a little bit too enthusiastic when I've got other people in the car, and I'm like, hey, don't make it seem like I know your name.
I have bigger check today. No, and my actual snacks are cheddar Chex Mix, and yes, I do eat cookie dough. Yes, I know it has egg in it.
You know what? That's not even
still alive.
That's not a thing in New Zealand. So like our eggs.
You don't eat cookie dough?
No. Well, I mean we do. We don't have cookie dough at this. Like you know how you guys have it in like tubes in America.
Break and bake.
Yeah, no, we don't have that.
I like break and bake because it's like a little bonbon.
Yeah, no, we have to make our cookie dough. But no, what I was meaning is like raw eggs is
you
not.
You say it like we're so lazy.
It's just not a thing here. But no, raw eggs is not a concern here.
I just think that shit was made up because moms would make cookies and it was gone because their kids ate the cookie dough because they couldn't use the oven.
This is like the light in the car all over again, like just things that parents made up to fearmonger the children.
The gaslighting that parents do.
Yeah, no, I mean salmonella is a thing, but it's so rare. Like if you got fresh eggs, you're gonna be fine, mate. She says, wondering why she has ruined gut bacteria.
Why am I taking a probiotic?
Now we must make haste into today's episode because I have tangented enough. And I'm excited.
And Pandemonium Patty took.
I know, we're actually onto it today. How amazing is this? Though I did forget I forgot to click so I know how long. Whoops. Doesn't matter.
Start it now. We're making haste.
I had 8 minutes. Okay, so the episode starts out with Lady Whistledown, of course. Dearest gentle reader, or actually, just kidding. It just says, dearest reader. Whilst most seasons, our fair marriage might follow a predictable pattern, this author likes it most when there is a surprise. To pause on this part, like in one of my Penelope analysis episodes where I discussed the timing of the release of the Lady Whistledown, I actually noticed a few things about this one as well. In this scene, we learn
Mm-hmm.
that Penelope and Colin are engaged and that the Whistledown Society paper that Penelope is writing is being announced to the town. And that's like the first thing that we see is this is Penelope writing. And yet Penelope does not look excited, elated,
No, I
or
said she looks
any
pensive.
or any positive emotion at the notion of her win or
Well,
like her
there's some
getting.
positive things in there because the timing of when Whistledown is read
Well, that's
and
what I've written. Even
yeah.
though the scene takes place after we see Penelope writing this, she would have written this article straight after the scene at Bridgerton House, where Eloise has just given her this huge ultimatum that is going to crumble her win to the ground. And like she's already lost Devling, not that she cares, but like she's like,
Oh, she don't give a crap about
no,
Devlin.
she
She's like,
doesn't.
Devlin who?
Devling who? I've, I've,
Devlin who?
I've got a Bridgerton. I've got a pretty Bridgerton.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a pretty Bridgerton. Yay!
Oh,
Well,
isn't that
and
funny? Not
there's a
not
little
all of
sparkle
us.
on her eye. I just want to bring up, like when she's reading the end part about them being happy, she's actually, you can tell she's been crying. They have a little
Mm.
shiny, like she's still crying, like there's a tear.
Glisteny.
But so Patty has structure note.
Woohoo.
This is straight up cinematography, and this was fantastic to me. So we know Penn is writing this Whistledown, this announcement Whistledown. So what we are watching is not real time.
No,
Okay, this
that's the
is
fun.
her memory.
Yeah.
This is her recalling this scene. And I think that's why the slow mo plays in. So the line you just read from Lady Whistledown is read right at the beginning. When they start walking, real time, she pauses, she looks up at the house,
Mm-hmm.
like she's in a dream. Like she just is, she doesn't, she's almost
When
dissociated. Like
something
she
feels
doesn't even know.
so fantastical that you cannot comprehend it being real life.
This is the definition of surreal.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that she has thought about. Like she's wanted it for so long, but she never let herself dream about it. And now that it's here, it seems like, is this really happening? And that plays into this.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute he turns back and holds out his hand and she lays her hand in his, it
Yes.
immediately goes slow mo. And this is me. The reason I think they use slow mo, which I saw a YouTube analysis or TikTok back when it first came out, that somebody said it was because like she was dissociated a little bit. It's surreal. It's like a dream scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something different. I think because this is her memory, she is recalling it from the moment he touches her hand and he's leading her in the house.
Like a whirlwind.
I think she slowed it. I think she's simmering. I
Mm.
think she stopped writing and she closed her eyes and she lived in this whole delicious moment. And they walk up the steps and then we don't see them again until they're already upstairs.
Yeah.
So we don't see them walk in the house. We don't see them go up the stairs. Yet Eloise is home. I don't think this was a straight trajectory walk. And we have a private moment from entering the house until reaching the second floor that she's kept to herself. She, as Whistledown, has said no. Those are my private moments with Colin. I'm assuming he washed his hands a little bit. That
I'm assuming he didn't.
I'm assuming he stopped to at least rinse his hands and they canoodled a little bit more because Eloise made it home. And she purposely left this part out from entering the house until we see them rounding the corner to go to the drawing room. This is
Oh,
memory. This is the Whistledown, right? So she's not allowing us to see that. That part was, she's keeping that for her own little heart. Or she is so in a surreal moment and so dissociated that
yes.
she doesn't remember it. Do you know how you have a memory that you know this happened and you know this
Yes.
happened, but you can't remember the middle? It's one
Yeah.
or the other.
Yeah.
But it's completely slow all the way. They come in the drawing room and you see she is fine.
Yes, absolutely.
Petrified. And I will
And
tell you why I think she's petrified in a minute. But if you listen as they're walking into the drawing room, only her and Colin are slow. The talking and the laughter is all real time.
yes.
So she's remembering that. That's her savor moment of the two of them before the world knows. Because right now it's just those two.
My feeling in regards to, for one, I think that Penelope has really deep-seated anxiety. And I think the reason that this anxiety is so prevalent in the scene is her mum has taught her Like, never expect anything good for yourself in life because you are not worth it. You are not worth, like even Dibbling. Oh, yes, he was a reach for sure with his but with his eccentricity, like he was within reach, like as if saying
Mm-hmm.
the only way that you could get a man of value was if he was weird enough that he would then accept you as being good. And like, though, and I know I'm skipping the gun here, talking about the scene after, that takes place at 20 minutes into the episode. But I think that that kind of line plays into everything that Portia has
Mm-hmm.
established in her daughter her whole entire life. You are not worthy of
The
someone
bottom's
that
going to
good.
drop out.
And the
Like
bottom
something
is,
good is not going to last. Yep.
yes, nothing good ever lasts. If you want something
Do you
good,
want
you
my
fight for it.
opinion?
Yes, please.
Do you want to know why I think she was so scared? And it plays into the book. She doesn't look at the family at all.
No.
She walks into that drawing room petrified. He turns and he grabs her hand with both of his hands. So he knows she's scared.
Yes.
And that's his comfort. Like, don't worry, I got this. And he steps away from her, looks back for like just a second. She's still petrified. Like, and then he goes, "We are engaged." And she visibly smiles a little bit, relaxes, almost does
Hmm.
this release of laughter, like a little I
Yeah.
think playing into the book, because
Yeah.
remember in the book, he goes to the mamas and he tells them that they've been sleeping together for weeks to
Yes.
up the wedding. I think they had just fooled around in the carriage. We know what their obstacles are. She's a Featherington. He's Colin, the third son. I think she's like, how's he going to do this to where they let us get married, right?
Hmm.
Like, she was worried he was going to be like, my hand's been up her dress. You have to let us get married now. And when he did it right, like when he was like, "We are engaged," she had because you never know with Colin. He's crafty Colin, right?
Yes.
So I think she thought he was going to announce what they'd just done in the carriage to be able to get his way. And when he didn't, she breathed a huge sigh of relief because she did not, I don't think she even thought about what the family's reaction to be. She didn't care. She was so concerned with his delivery and what he was going to say, and she got to hear it out loud for the,
Yeah.
so like all that plays in.
I think
But
even
yeah, I
though,
think she thought he was going to go, I have to marry Penelope and you can't say no.
well, I mean, and not to mention, like, she has been taught to never trust anything good in her life. So even though he proposed to her, he could have taken her in that room and just said, "Oh, look who I found in the foyer," and just hidden and made it a whole secret engagement. She had no idea whether he was going to announce it. Like, I think it's all in the unknown. And she has fought for Lady Whistledown, so she has control over something in her life. But this is something that's so out of her control. And I
Mm-hmm.
love how many times that Colin turns to take her hand, turns to give her those little smiles that he reserves just for her,
And he
for all
the
reassurance.
little smile and the nod. He reassures
Yes,
her all the time with a
all the
little
time.
smile and a nod.
He
And I want to
knows.
point out, speaking of Whistledown, the fact that Whistledown does not speak again until they are about to enter the drawing room. That part
Yes,
from door to
yes,
second floor landing is completely private and secret to her little heart. It's
yes.
only between her and Colin. We're not allowed to know if he watched.
And can I just say, like, it's super ironic that this episode is called, sorry, the episode one of the season is called Out of the Shadows, and yet this scene is filmed almost entirely in the dark, and it is so hard to figure out what is happening due to the lack of light in the scene. Like, can you please just light a bloody candle? You're killing me filming. Like, can you please, for the
Well, and
love
I
of God?
think I think it goes like in the under the cover of night because this is still Penelope's life. A
Yes.
lot of what she does, her best work is done in the under the cover of darkness. Like her whistle downs are written in the middle of the
Yeah.
night and delivered in the middle of the night. And I think that that is a symbol of yes, they're engaged and this is a bright time for her. And really, from the mirror scene on, like
Hmm.
it's sunshine. It doesn't even
Hmm.
rain in Mayfair. Like they
Hmm.
even have sun pouring in the windows. But up until this moment, everything is shadowy and dark because she has her secret. And
I just, it's
it's
not.
hard for you.
it,
I know.
it's frustrating for me as someone who is quite visually impaired, and I really, my eyes struggle to determine between dark and light. Like, I just think this is a multi-million-dollar affair Get better lighting. Like, dude, light a few candles. You can afford it. What are you doing? I want to see the
Okay, so
background. I want to see everything in the background. I want to analyze everything in the background, and I can't do that if you leave me in the dark.
speaking of analyzing in the background, I just want to
Mm-hmm.
throw a tidbit out here that I found interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading up on Eat because of the line, the
Yes.
tavern line seemed out
Yes.
of place. I was reading up on Eaton.
One of the
I
oldest
went down a
schools in the world.
I went, yeah, and I ended up on a Reddit thread, and unfortunately, I don't remember the original poster. But they had thrown some pictures in and gifs, and they had a gif of Colin from season one when Daphne comes in his room to talk to him after they figure out the whole Marina thing without his input, and he's standing at his desk. Guess what's on his desk?
I had completely disassociated because I was thinking through you saying the word GIF, because in Australia, GIF is a cleaning product. We call it a
Jif
GIF.
is peanut butter here, and I call it GIF, but everybody else calls it Jif, so that's what I said.
I call it,
Everyone says I'm wrong for calling it a GIF,
no, because to
but
me,
I do.
GIF is cleaning products.
It's peanut butter here. That
Yeah.
is my favorite peanut butter, Jif. But he has a statue of Cupid.
Yes, that was in my very first episode that I ever
Yeah,
recorded was all the
he
different,
has he has arrows on his desk
yeah.
and a little boy lord, like it's a little figurine of a little English gentleman, but you can tell he's like a young dude.
Foreshadowing.
I find it very foreshadowing.
Okay. Let me prepare my Lady Whistledown voice as she continues. It is said that surprise is one part secrecy and one part speed. And last night, an announcement came with great speed indeed.
Okay, so I have a question.
Question
I
away.
have a question, Lady Whistledown.
Yes, Miss Coleman,
First of
over
all,
there, hand up. We
first
don't
of
just
all,
call out, we raise our hand.
I have two questions. One, if it was sudden, how could there have been a secret?
Mm-hmm.
And two, if there was a secret, what constitutes the speed?
Well, I mean, Colin got her there pretty fast.
Well, and that's what I think that
I think the speed part is a taunt to Portia personally that we got it out before you could revoke it. I feel like it's a taunt.
yes, it's a taunt to Portia, but I also think it's a taunt to Antony because they knew Antony was,
Mm.
and Antony is the obstacle in the Bridgerton house. Like when
You know what?
Violet had her pep talk with Colin, he realized in that moment Violet was down.
Like
Right?
I know, and I've been thinking about this more, and especially with the scene that we'll probably get to next episode with the Bridgerton Bros, but our favorites.
Mhm.
I actually
Oh, that's a
think
whole episode in and of itself. There's so much in there.
that's why I said next episode because I'm like, I honestly think that Anthony has calmed his farm enough now that he's married to Kate that he loves his brother, and you can tell the way that he reacts to the engagement because it is a genuine engagement. It is a love match, not just
Right.
because he thinks his brother's being rash. I actually think he
Even
would
when
have
he sits
accepted it.
down and says, "Explain." He's
Yes.
kidding. Like
You can
he's
see
just
like
it's
him and
he's
Benedict,
trying not to smile.
they
He's
are
like,
hilarious, but we will analyze that
we'll
another
get there
day.
later.
Yes.
But I
But
think that Colin's been busy,
busy
right?
bee, busy bee.
And Antony's been gone a lot. So Colin doesn't know how Antony's going to
Mm.
react. He knew,
Yeah.
though, that he had to get this engagement announced
Like
before Antony could thwart it.
for sure, Antony would have been like, really have to marry the daughter of her. Like, I love Penelope, but like, just
Like,
know that this is a sacrifice having to put up with her for the rest of my life. As
I
in
know
Portia.
it was like I complained about a disagreeable sister, and now you're
Yes.
bringing a disagreeable mother, a mama, into our midst.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, but I do find it funny, and this was one of your points, and this is in my notes as well. Super hilarious that the only people that knew, talking about speed, the only people that knew about the engagement were in the Bridgerton house, the maids and servants in the Bridgerton house, yes, and the two people in the carriage ride. Well, driving the carriage, shall I say.
Well, and as late as it was at this point in time, most of the servants in the house would have gone to bed.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, probably the only servant, honestly, that was awake would have been Mrs. Wilson.
Yes. And like this
or
would
the
have been
scullery maid to clean up after they left the drawing room
like
and went up to
personally,
their rooms.
I think that this would have made a perfect timing for Colin. Like, because you know how in the books, a big part of Penelope and Colin's connection was him freaking out, trying to find out who Lady Whistledown was, and then him thinking that it was, and that was because of
Eloise.
the challenge that Lady Nembry put out, him thinking it was
Yeah.
Eloise. And I mean, he could still potentially think it was Eloise, even though she sort of ruined herself, because he could have been like, oh, well, actually, she doesn't want to get married, so she could have done this to avoid ever having to get married. So actually, it's a really clever ploy on her
Yeah.
part.
And in
So,
the rom-com season, because a lot of the fodder in rom-coms is that misunderstanding type of
yes,
thing, like having that conversation where he
be a
thinks
little
it's
bit less
Eloise and he
angsty.
comes to
Yeah.
Penn, like when he goes to see Penn and they're in the afterglow moment, because everything else still would have happened the way it did because he would have
Yes.
walked in on
Yes.
Portia,
Yeah.
whatever. In the afterglow moment, if he would have been like,
How
she
did that?
says, like, I need to tell you something, and he goes, I've got to know about,
Yes.
what do you think? I think Eloise is Whistledown.
Like who else could have gotten this article out
Who else?
so fast
Yeah.
after our
It
engagement?
came out at 10 a.m. It's at breakfast.
Yes.
And breakfast is usually later.
Yes.
We went
Yes.
over that in
Yeah.
etiquette because of how late the parties
I
go, the
think
balls go.
usually 9 or 10, based on Sir
Yeah.
Philip, because Sir Philip is always giving Eloise a hard time for getting up at like 9, 10 to have breakfast because he's an early bird because he lives on the farm and obviously he doesn't
Right.
have ton hours.
Yeah. And there's somewhere in the books, I remember reading that Whistledown was delivered so that it could be on like
Yes.
the coffee tray,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
tea tray at breakfast.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And we see that with Lady Tilly. It's on her
Yes.
tray that was brought into the room.
I also have notes on that when we get to it because someone's just getting a whole show delivering that lady was.
Well, it was her servant that delivered it to her bedroom, and they're very discreet. She already said that.
That's not the point.
They didn't deliver it mid show. They were asleep.
Um, I digress.
But it was Regency times. They would just walk in, set it down, and walk out. I mean,
like to be fair, like I just Colin was so analytical in the books and he was musing out, yes, this fits with Eloise, yes, this fits with Eloise, and they could have still 100% done this, and I don't know why they didn't, and that would have made a lot of the kind of angst between Colin and Eloise make sense because he's like, actually, the more I think of it, the more it's lining up that my sister is Lady Whistledown. She's smart enough. She loves to read. She loves to write. She's always got pen ink stains on her hands.
And when she asks him at the end of the first episode, like, do you have any idea who it is? Like,
yes,
that would have set my mind going.
Yes, absolutely.
Why are you asking it that way? You sound suspicious.
Yes.
You know? Well, and I think, and
she's always sneaking off. And but granted, she was sneaking off to the speech thingies.
Season 2,
but
and that's why the Queen thought it was her.
Yes, so
but she never told anyone the Queen thought it was her except for Penelope, and that is why Colin is still so mad about what got said about Eloise, because he doesn't know she was protecting her.
And Colin could have thought, hey, if it's Eloise, I bet Penelope found out, and Penelope was upset with her for ruining our lives over the Marina situation, that Penelope got thrown under the bus and got ruined in the eyes of the ton because of it. So it literally would have flipped.
And that's why they're not talking.
And that's why they're not talking. Exactly. So if they played it out like this, at least people wouldn't be like, oh, daft Colin. It would completely erase this whole thing of them thinking that Colin's not intelligent, because actually it does all line up. Granted, it is flipped the other way around, but it would have all made sense, and it would have made sense for him to think this. So I'm a little bit annoyed that they kind of play him off as not even considering, hey, how did this get out on time? Like, he would have considered
anyone, no one in that house.
No.
None of them were talking about it when they walk up to greet Antony about
and how
this was already in Whistledown.
Hyacinth is so sharp. She would have first thing in the morning, hey, look, this only just came out last night. How is this in Lady Whistledown this morning?
He did publicly interrupt a dance between her and somebody that Portia had said she was going to get engaged that night. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that. He publicly, and I think that was for Antony's benefit also. Mm-hmm. I think that was part of the plan, because, and I don't know if we do this as a separate little YouTube and talk it through, or if you want to talk it through here about how we know Colin was planning a proposal. It was not an in the moment decision.
No, we'll talk it through.
And it was actually, and it was a Shonda Rhimes put it in, and it explains everything to me.
Yes.
So dang, I thought now.
Sorry.
What was I saying? Not the Colin, the oh yeah. He interrupted the dance publicly,
Yes.
which that creates scandal. And the fact that it was announced by Portia that she was going to get proposed to that night, that tells the entire ton he does not want her marrying Devlin, right? Even if nothing ever got said beyond that, that says it all. And then I'm sure somebody had to have seen him race after her carriage and get it. But that doesn't mean they got engaged, unless a Whistledown could have said that. But Whistledown tells the truth, and she only tells things that she's actually heard. So, but we're also in this season where Eloise is not wanting to openly admit and take accountability for what she's done yet. The whole first episode, she's talking about how Penn, you know, how Lady Whistledown could just make something up. And then people believe Cressida is Whistledown, and the first Whistledown she puts out is nothing but lies, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, they're worried, like, because Whistledown does tell the truth. Like, the Bridgertons are worried that people will believe anything written about them by a fake Whistledown, right?
I mean, that kind of goes along with real life a little too well.
Yeah. So I just think that there's enough there that a scandal sheet writer with a little less integrity could have put out a thing about the engagement. However, the way it was written is firsthand knowledge.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not speculation at all.
No,
it was firsthand knowledge. So somebody should have been like, who we firing?
Yes. Right.
I mean, come on now.
I want to jump back to the actual engagement announcement for a second. My favorite thing is that Colin announces we're engaged, and you know, this is the whole scene is like in slow-mo. You know, they always play the same.
Except for the girls, like they're talking, they're laughing, is all real time. He and Penn are the only ones in.
But
I love it.
It kind of reminds me of movies where like the bomb goes off and your ears are ringing and you're in shell shock, and like that's just like Penelope is shell shocked. Like the bomb's gone off and she's like, what is happening? I can't hear anything, I can't see anything, everything's just a blur. But my favorite thing is that they all turn around confused, like, engaged, what's going on? And then they see it's Penelope, and without even questioning anything, how did this happen? When did it start? None of that. They were just excited, elated even. And my favorite reaction is Hyacinth, because she's like, screw her brother, runs straight past him and straight into Penelope's arms and will not let her go. Further proof of just how meaningful Penelope is to the family, that Hyacinth runs straight to, like, don't care about you. You're just the way I got to having her as my sister.
That's our Felicity moment. That was like what Felicity should have been. Rip Felicity. Yeah. But that is a Felicity moment. So I broke down those
everyone's
three
reactions.
faces.
Yeah.
So we start with Violet.
Yeah.
She hears Colin. She turns. She takes note of him first, then looks to Penn. Immediate open mouth, giddy shock.
Yes.
Highest from her, she's over like on our right as we're facing the TV. She turns, slight glance at Colin, sees Penn, shock, surprise at Colin, and then beelines for Penn. Francesca, this is my favorite because I think I talked about it in an episode. I pointed out where in the Penelope analyses, where Colin looks over at the Featherington carriage with a look of disapproval on his face on debut day for Daphne. And we see just a tiny shot of Francesca noticing his face. I got pen on my thumb, I can see it. And then she looks to see where he's looking, and she looks back with like this knowing look that he was looking at Penn. And here she is, no surprise whatsoever. She sees Penn first. She turns and sees Penn. Then she looks at Colin with such a look of pride and happiness. She's like, he did it! Like, she knew.
Finally, I have another sane sister in my family. I'm done with these
I didn't even
girls.
take it as like, oh yay, another introvert or anything like that. Like Fran thinking about herself. I took it as Fran has known all along.
Yeah.
Fran has known Colin's had feelings, and he finally acted on him and did what he wanted, and she is just so proud of him and so happy for him, and she goes straight for him.
Well,
She's the first one to hug
yes,
him.
she does. And I think it's because she is such an introvert that she is constantly watching those around her, and
Mm-hmm.
she notices a lot more than her other siblings do. Like she may not understand their feelings as well because she has that feeling of other. But
Mm-hmm.
I think she observes a lot more than they do because they're always in the thick of it, whereas she's kind of just watched.
Right.
So it wouldn't surprise me if she was actually the first one to realize that there was feelings there.
And then my next favorite little moment is when Violet hugs Colin and they separate, and he gives her that knowing nod and smile, like, thanks, Mom.
Like I took that smile of
I did it, Mom.
I took that
I
smile
got my
of
girl.
I did it right this time. This is it. This is the one. She is my
Yeah.
one.
Well, I took it because it's Colin and the conversation with the pocket watch,
Yes.
and where he gave her the pocket watch, and
And
like that's
the
a symbol of timing, and it's her time now to move on. It's his time to take up the mantle, is how I kind of took that for this season.
and that
And
whole
he's like,
conversation about the foundation of a good relationship. Like
yeah,
all these things were just culminating in this
and
moment. Like
having
I did
he
it,
had the
Mum.
courage, yeah, he had the courage to ask, and he's like, I had the courage, Mom, and I got my girl, you know.
I took off the armor.
Yeah. And I just have a feeling like the both of them are thinking, because in Patty Cannon, back in childhood days, I think Colin married Penn every day in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I think every day there was they were acting out some book or some story they were reading. And because, Colin is a aficionado of Greek mythology,
Mm-hmm.
and he's quoted poetry, and Penn loves a good romance that I think they acted out. I mean, they acted out Don Quixote. We know that for sure. I think they acted out different stories. And I think it's like, oh, what are they doing?
I
Oh,
wish
Colin's marrying
I
Penn
wish there was
again.
I wish there was a story of like his speech at the wedding of like I've been married 100 times and each time was with this beautiful lady. 99 of those times when we were in children in my backyard, and this time it's as
It's
adults and for
forever.
real. This is our forever. Like I wish there was a cute little like
Oh, that
story
would have
like
been so
that.
sweet.
Yes,
Okay, we got to
like
write a rom com.
yes, like as in like my sisters bullied me into marrying Penelope every day of my childhood, and now I choose to marry Penelope.
Oh, I don't think he got bullied at all.
No, but like he would have worded it that way to seem
Because
masculine still.
as I've been doing rewatches, and I rewatched that scene at the market, and the way he says it, like she had no problems flirting with him, and
Yeah,
and specifically with him.
yeah.
But what changed? We became adults, and we worried about what other people thought.
Mm-hmm.
He's always saying, forget what other people think, because other people have been telling them they didn't work.
Yes.
Other people have been saying, she's a Featherington. You're only a third son. You don't have any direction or purpose.
Mm.
She is not marriage material. Nobody wants her, kind of.
Yes.
They've been listening to everyone else, and they just needed to find her.
And on that point, it's really interesting that as Hyacinth says, it is only that we've known Penelope for all these years, and now she'll be my sister. The camera pans over to Eloise as she says that line. You guys are onto it because like those two lines, the line and the look on Eloise's face go hand in because like
Well, the thing is,
This is something that Eloise would have dreamed of for years, and now
and I
it's
think she
somehow
still
her.
does. I don't really see anger
No,
on
but
her
it's
face.
tainted. It's that this moment
Yes,
is
it
tainted
is.
for her because I've dreamed of this for so long, and now it's not happening in the way that it's supposed to. We're in a rift, and I can't be excited
How
for it.
did she think
And
they were going to become sisters? I mean, honestly, Eloise.
well, because I mean, like she even joked with Cressida that we used to say that we'd be spinsters and grow old together. So that is either sisters or lovers. Like it's one or the other.
Well, and I think there was a little bit of that, like, betrayal.
Mm.
I think she looked more betrayed in that moment, but she also looked like she wanted to be happy. It's like how I read her expressions, because here Claudia Jesse does a master class just like Luke Newton does in The
Yes,
Carriage. There's
absolutely.
so much going on her face, and I saw
I feel like
she
I feel like
she
Eloise.
wanted this moment, and she felt it, she knew it. This moment could erase everything.
Yes,
She could walk
she
across
could
that
let it
room,
go.
and she could hug Penelope, and she could let it go, and everything would be fine, and she knew it.
Yeah.
However, they hadn't had a conversation,
Yeah.
Whistledown was still a thing, and she didn't
There was
know if
no,
Penelope had
yeah.
told Colin yet or not.
Yeah.
So she couldn't. So she couldn't join in, and that broke her heart.
Yeah. I
Her
think,
heart was broken in that moment, but she was still happy because, like, if you look at how she's looking at Penn when Penn gets hugged by Hyacinth, and then I specifically, I mean, when you look at Penn getting hugged by Violet,
well,
she closes her eyes and she savors it. She
she
hasn't had
does.
maternal affection in we don't know how long. And Eloise is sitting there, like, there's a small amount of happiness on her face for Penn. Like, Penn is getting loved.
I
I don't
wrote,
want to ruin this for her.
I
And
wrote
that's why she just says, excuse me.
I wrote that the hug that Violet gives Penelope just fills my heart because you can see how much love they have for each other and how much Violet's approval means to her.
Well, and I think it goes beyond that. I think that she's always looked at Violet like a mother.
Mother. Yeah.
And
That was the
I
mother
mean,
she wanted to
Violet,
share the news with. This
yeah.
was the only
And
time she was going to get
this
to
was
feel
the moment
excited.
she wanted to share. Yes.
Yes.
And I don't think she expected a hug, but because when she saw she was going to get hugged, her voice was very high and wispy and whispery, and like she was trying not to cry.
Yeah.
And then when she hugged her, her eyes closed and she
It's like
was
coming
so
home.
stiff.
It's like
But
coming
she
home
didn't
though.
relax into the hug though. She wanted it so much. She was savoring it, but she almost didn't know how to completely give into it, if that makes sense. I think Nicola Coughlan, that hug and how she portrayed it for Penn was amazing acting. Like, she didn't embrace her. She just held her shoulders and she was so stiff. Like, you knew she's wanted this forever, but she doesn't hug that often and she didn't know what to do. It was perfect to me.
I think if Eloise wasn't in the room and she didn't have that kind of fear
She hadn't
looming
noticed
over her,
Eloise. She didn't notice Eloise yet.
I think she knew that she was in the room. Like her
Probably
and
felt she was there.
but
because it wasn't until after Gregory that she turned and she's like, ugh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, but
here.
like Eloise has a presence, and you sense
Yeah, she
her.
does. Oh, there's something snarky to my left. What is that?
Oh,
I feel this aura of red and dark. And
yeah.
it's like Maleficent walked in the room.
But I did find it incredibly interesting that it is Francesca who picks up on Eloise's lack of enthusiasm. Because I wondered, does the family actually know outside of Colin to really not know that the girls' relationship is so strained at the moment? Has Eloise just kind of bypassed it and I've been busy, I have not seen, because I can imagine that because Eloise doesn't want to bring attention to it because she doesn't know how to explain it, so she just avoids talking about it altogether.
Yeah, she avoids. Yeah. But I think Francesca was calling out Gregory. And we see Eloise react because I don't think Eloise realized the expression that was on her face.
Yes.
And it surprised her, like, am I that obvious?
Yes.
But it was but Gregory
yes,
was looking sour.
What is that sour expression on your face?
Yeah, and that's another example of Francesca being observant. Francesca calls out Gregory's lack of enthusiasm with everyone else, and she noticed, like no one else did. So Francesca's noticed a lot, and she kind of gets overlooked in that way. She's Francesca. She gets but yeah, then Gregory says his line of, I can't believe you're getting married before I get a chance to go to one tavern with you, which seemed so out of place because I researched taverns.
Wants to be grown up.
I researched taverns, and married men go to taverns all the time. Taverns are the actual meeting place where gentlemen and merchants and stuff can meet, because not everyone can get into white, right? That's exclusive. So when they want to do business and they can't go to white, they go to tavern. They meet in tavern houses. So married men go to taverns all the time. So that is a
tavern also a place like in the books where they would stop on the road with their carriages and that and stay? That was at taverns,
like a public
right?
house.
Yeah,
they had rooms above. Like a public house didn't necessarily have rooms above, but taverns,
yes,
like you could stay upstairs at a tavern. But taverns were also meeting places where people would meet, conduct business. Men, usually the wives, if they came or if they were traveling and doing business, they would rent a room upstairs and the wife would be upstairs. She could only be in the dining room with her husband to eat, and that's it.
And we saw that in Nicholas and Georgina's book in the Rokesbys. They're on the road traveling together after they've been married, and they have to stop at a tavern. And someone gets hurt. Someone turns up really, really hurt. And Nicholas, he was a training doctor, and Georgina desperately wanted to be a doctor as well, but she legally was not allowed to back then, not allowed to attend university, blah, blah, blah. So she kind of just worked as his apprentice. And I remember he had to come and fetch her to take her down, and they had to dine in private, like in a private dining room in the tavern, because he didn't want her mixing with the general folk because they were too rough for a lady of her caliber, was
Correct.
what I remember.
But as I thought about this today, rewatching and taking notes for the pod, I decided, have a little think on it. And I think it's foreshadowing because Gregory's first foray into Bridgerton brodom is in Eloise's book, where he finally gets included when they go to find out what's going on. They didn't go to beat him up, but they went to find out what was going on, but with the plans of there's going to be a rumble.
I love
And Gregory
Gregory's
gets to go,
response.
and they end up, yeah, they
I'm
end
a real
up
boy.
going to they end up going to a tavern then.
Yes.
And I think
with the milk jugs.
Yeah, I think that this is foreshadowing, and they're gonna harken back to that, and Colin will say something like, see, you did get to go to a tavern with me, kind of thing.
Yes.
So I think that was shadowing there.
But this moment, well, the reason that I'm not entirely certain if it was aimed at Gregory or at Eloise is because at that point where she says, what has been your sorry expression, that is when the rest of the room becomes aware of Eloise's dance on the engagement, and everyone turns to look at her. And Penelope looks like actively pained. This is both her dreams and her nightmare all at the same time. And the way that the girls look at each other, you can tell that there is a million emotions going on for both of them. Mm-hmm. And Eloise can't take it anymore and leaves the room because she's like, I have too much to process. I cannot think this through while everyone's looking at me.
I felt that, but I also felt it was like she is a part of her, because a part of her is always going to love Penn, right? Mm-hmm. A part of her is happy for her, doesn't with all of her other emotions, and that's why she extricates. But the reason I'm pretty sure it's Gregory is because as soon as she says it, Gregory announces his issue. Mm-hmm. And then how Colin kind of gets indulged by everyone, and they grab his face, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And he's condescended upon up until the point he's a married man, and then Gregory is the baby, the one that they look at all indulgently, and that's a very fine hat and everything.
Yes.
When Gregory says what he says and Colin goes, I'm sorry about that, brother, and Hyacinth rolls her eyes, everyone in the family is looking at Gregory with that same look that they have always given Colin. Mm-hmm. Even Penn. Yeah. Penn is indulgently looking at Gregory like, oh, he's so cute. And then she turns and sees Eloise, and her face just falls.
I think it's just a thing when you've hit adulthood and someone else hasn't, that even if it's only a few years difference, it just feels legions. Like, I went out to a dinner for my godson's 16th birthday the other day, and his uncle was there. And then his uncle was like, oh, like, I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years now. Like, I'm planning to propose. And I'm like, aren't you a bit young for that? And he goes, I'm 28. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like,
28.
You're like a baby. You look like a baby. Like, no, you're not an adult. You are not an adult. Yeah.
My first niece is not far from being 40.
Wow.
That's hard for me.
Yeah.
Right. So I get it. But yeah,
and like, because
they look at him, and
he was giving my godson's older sister crap about, because in New Zealand you're allowed to drink at 18, and she's about to turn 19, and mm-hmm. she had a drink, and he's like, you're not allowed to drink, like, is someone ID'd this girl, sort of thing. And so he's mm-hmm. giving her crap about being too young, and I'm giving him crap, and it's just like I'm like, this is the Bridgerton bros, like, whoever's younger is always going to be a baby in your eyes.
Yeah, like my nieces and nephews, I think, like Josh and Amber to me are always going to be like 11 and 12 years old. And but they're the ones that are in their late.
But I also think it is sometimes down to maturity as well. Because like a lot of my friends call me Mama Tash, because even though I'm only like a year or two older or sometimes younger or the same age, I'm just such a mum to everyone that everyone sees me as the mum figure of who you go to for advice or help or whatever. But for me, the uncle that I was talking about isn't so mature. Many wonderful qualities in life. Maturity is not one of them. So for me, he's still a kid because he still acts like it, you know?
Well, and that's why I am an aunt. I am an aunt by I have a lot
Yes.
of nephews. But nobody calls me mama anything. I tend to get called like
Auntie
I'm
Patty.
old enough to be you guys' teenage mom if I was teenage
Have you
statistic.
heard a little bit more reckless?
If I was a little bit more reckless or a little less fat, it was the 90s. I could have had a child young. But I mean, you guys both said like I'm like a big sister. People think that. Like my sister, who's a year and a half younger than me, people guess her as old because I don't want to say I don't act mature because I don't think it's a maturity thing.
Youthful.
I look for joy. I
Yes.
seek joy. I try to be unserious. I'm a serious person who likes this.
Hmm.
I like being quirky, and so people see that as young.
I think people think that with age comes darkness a little bit. Like you kind of
Yeah.
lose the joy because you're exposed to too much of the world. And I think you and I both have a really good outlook that we still find joy in just the simplest little pleasures in life. Like every time I see a duck now, I'm like, that's a swan.
Well, and I had a recent experience that I mean, Friday I was wrecked. Yesterday I didn't get a lot of sleep, so I still wasn't great. And today I let myself have a lay-in, but when I got up, I can't stay down. I am definitely Chumbawamba. Like I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I do not
Get
stay
knocked down,
down.
but I get up again.
I get up
You're
again.
never gonna
You're
keep me
never gonna
down.
keep me
I get
down.
knocked down.
Right.
You're never
I
gonna
love that
keep
song.
me down. It's such a good one.
That's like my theme song. And back then, I was known to piss the night away. So
Yes.
those are my piss in the night away years with a whiskey drink, a vodka drink, a lager drink, and a cider drink.
Oh no, I did not mix. I used to just rock up with a bottle of Malibu and maybe some mixer.
Okay, so when they first noticed Eloise, I'm gonna say two things. One of my favorite, and to me it's comedy gold. Like when I saw it for the first time, I laughed out loud. I found it so funny. But it's such a small, subtle thing because as soon as Violet touches Penelope, she grabs her hands, hugs her. She is still holding her hand this whole time.
Yes.
Everything, she will not let go of Penelope. Penelope is her girl. She has been wanting this,
I
and you can
cannot.
tell.
If I let her hand go,
If I
my
let her
son's gonna
go,
stuff. My son's gonna stuff this up somehow. I'm just gonna
right.
hold on.
I gotta hold on. I gotta hold on. It's too good of a thing,
Yeah.
right? But the second they notice, Penn turns and sees Eloise, and Eloise is just quiet, but there's so many things playing on her face at the moment. Like I think she is feeling joy for her friend, not so much about Colin, but all the love that she's getting from her family that she knows Penn does not get, right? But she has so much going on still. She's not ready to forgive her. And they still got to have their talk and their hash out. And she doesn't know what's going on with Whistledown if Colin knows. So she doesn't know if Penn is being honest or if she's being deceitful in any way. So she's part of her is very hurt that she doesn't get to engage in this moment like she would want to, but she is definitely feeling happiness for her friend. It's just mixed with a lot of gross right now. But my favorite thing is that when Violet turns and sees Eloise and sees the look on Eloise's face and that look of there's a look of betrayal there, kind of.
Yes. Yes.
Violet takes it personally and she lets go of her hand, Penn's hand, and puts it on her belly like I wasn't holding her hand. I swear, my hand was not in the cookie jar. It was not me. Like she's
This
like,
is
oops,
this isn't my favorite daughter. I swear.
oops, I got caught. I got caught having a favorite. I've got to stop.
Yeah.
But that
Well,
part cracks me up so much
and
every time.
I do sort of feel like Eloise. I think the siblings kind of acknowledge that Colin might be the favorite as well, a little bit.
Oh yeah, he is definitely the coddled favorite.
But in
Uh,
saying that, it's also because he not panders to her the most, but sort of like he is the most conscientious of her feelings.
oh yeah, he was given the job of caregiver, and I think your dog.
No, no, she's going in her sleep.
Oh, she's chasing a squirrel. Is that when they make that noise in their sleep, they're barking? They're saving you from dragons.
Oh, I feel sad, am I?
Where is she?
She's just
Oh, right there.
right there.
Oh,
She's just making little, because obviously we've got this whole or
the move.
this is my boxes. The bed's in here. It's chaos in here.
So everybody, all eyes are on Eloise, and I think there's that too. Like she doesn't want to process and get into it with Penn in that moment. She knows she can end it. She has the power to end it right there. And she knows Penn has been wanting to reconcile. She knows she could end it right there and then, but couldn't. So she says, "Excuse me."
And you can kind of see all of that playing through Penelope's face. Like, is the other shoe going to drop? Is she going to just continue hating me? Is she going to forgive me? Is she going to be my sister? Like this, like, and I know that she
See, and
doesn't believe that.
I just saw her being like, "Are you gonna hug me? I got everything I wanted." Like in her mind, they've been friends for so long, she doesn't even think of Eloise not knowing.
I don't think it's I got everything I wanted. It's I'm so close to finally having something in my life. Please just let me have it. Like I
think
I
like
want
she's
us to
like,
be
are
good.
you just? It's that moment of hope that this thing will make everything better. Like,
yeah,
I'm marrying your brother now. Please just hug me. Like, let this be over. You know, that kind of thing.
Just be my
like,
sister.
Be happy for me. Be my sister.
Like sisters fine. Like it's okay, you know?
And she had that moment of hope because of the look on Eloise's face. There was a little bit of happiness for her. And she's like, let that be what carries you. Like, let's just drop this between us, you know? And I don't mean drop it like, they both have to say their apologies. They both have to talk at some point.
But let's just get through this moment and then we'll deal with it.
And she looked like she was so hopeful, like, please, please hug me. Like, she hasn't gotten a hug from a single soul in over a year. And that, I mean, just knowing that breaks my heart. Like, just the look on her face when she was hugged by Violet ripped in such a happy moment.
But I think it's also because you and I are both huggers, and we've come from I'm
not a big hugger.
No, but with your friends you are.
I hug my friends.
Like you hug Anakin, you hug Hay. You'd hug me. You don't have a choice.
I'm an awkward. Even with my friends, I'm an awkward.
You hugger. Will hug me.
The only person that I hug completely and fully that the only person I've hugged in I can't even think that I hugged my ex-husband completely and just sank into it and felt completely safe and like that's supposed to be because I've not gotten a lot of affection in life either. But like Smaug, I can hug him and forget the whole world exists. But even Kay, like Kay's hugged me, we've hugged each other, and there's still a part of me that's like it's prickly. You know, like it's like doing this.
Caitlin, my Caitlin is not a big effect like physical. She's had things happen in her life where like touching is not safe, but she hugs me, but I try not to make it linger too much just so that she feels safe still.
Yeah. And that's it for me. Like all my nieces and nephews, I can hug a child. Like that's pure. They're in. It's when you start getting to the late teen adulthood that it becomes awkward.
Ezra, like I adore like when I pick him up from kindy and like I'll pick him up and he just like snuggles his head into my shoulder and I'm like, oh, this is what love is. Like this is it's like this. It melts your heart.
One of my favorite joys ever is the age of like 3 to 5. When they know you, they recognize you. They don't forget about you when you're gone. They're excited to see you when you show up. And they like, I love wide open arm toddlers running at me. Patty! That's like one of my favorite things. And my great nephew is at the stage. So.
He's so stew. All right. So Eloise has left the room and you kind of see Violet and Colin's reaction like, what do we do? Like, what's wrong? And I think both of them are like, I don't want to deal with her. You want to deal with her? And
no, like, Colin starts to stalk. Like he's stalking out, gonna walk out, and Penn's like
how dare you ruin this moment for Penelope?
Yeah, and the look on his face when Penn leaves the room, that's like a warrior going to battle for his princess.
You better not upset my wife.
Yeah. Like, if she even sheds here, Ella, remember the spiders in your bed when you were 10? Worse. Because I view, like, you've seen The Sound of Music, right?
I will shave off your eyebrows, woman.
You've seen The Sound of Music, right?
Yes, I have.
So,
many a time.
For me, when I imagine Colin as a child,
Oh, yes,
I
yes,
think of
yes, yes,
Kurt.
yes. Absolutely. I
Colin
see it.
is Kurt.
Yes.
Colin is
Even,
Kurt so much.
yeah. I
So I think
100%
he
see it.
put spiders in Eloise's bed.
Well, actually, they could do I don't remember which Smythe Smith book it is, but one of the Smythe Smith books where the girl's on the run from her ex. It's very Mary Poppinsy, Mary, very Sound of Musicy kind of yeah, they could do that. But anyway, so Penelope follows after Eloise, and oh my lord, this scene has big feel.
This scene is more emotional to me than their huge fight at the end of.
Yes. Like Eloise seems mighty indignant about it being Colin. My brother! My brother! Okay,
My brother.
so like I do want to preface this with I know exactly how she feels. At 15 or 16 years old, my we just moved to the country. I'd made best friends with my two besties, Denny and Rachel. Denny, I'm still best friends with. Rachel, after many years of dating my brother, she separated herself so that she could separate from him. But he started dating my best friend Rachel, and Rachel and I and Danny were inseparable, and they hid it from me for about 3 months. And I
Mm.
remember finding out one day. I don't even remember how I found out. I maybe caught them kissing or holding hands or something or other. And I remember running to my room feeling completely betrayed. And I remember calling my parents at work and crying on the phone to my mum, only to realize that she knew as well and that everyone had been hiding it from me. And I felt betrayed by every single person in my life. Like, how could they all hide this from me? And I remember being like, either they break up or I'm moving back to Australia. Like, I'm not like those were my friends. Like, so when I grew up in Australia, I was always Jason's little sister, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Eloise gets a bit of, you know, that, as we said, penis envy. And so she's always been the Bridgerton Bros' little sister or Daphne's little sister. She's always been associated by her family and not by her. And her and Colin both have
It's a
issues with
large
that.
family. She doesn't
Yes.
have anything that's just hers. And Penn was just hers because she was blind to see how much
Yes.
Colin and Penn hung out as
Yes.
well
So,
and talked to each other. So she's blindsided here. Like it was
so
right in front of your face though,
when I
the
moved
whole
to the
time.
country, my brother had just graduated high school, which meant for the first time in my life, I got to set my own identity rather than my identity being set by my brother. And I
Right.
had my own friends for the first time that weren't mutual friends. We weren't shared friends. These were my people. And when you've just moved to a country and you're feeling like really vulnerable, like it is selfish, but that is a
For
two
Americans, that's just like moving to a new state. Same.
it's a 3 hour flight, 3.5. But like I
Yeah, but I mean,
understood.
they're borderline, like they're next to each other in a way that it would be like somebody here moving from, say, the west coast over to,
Well, no, no, no,
like
not
you're
even that
moving to
far. Like
another state.
you just whatever states
It's
have a
still
state in
only a three
between.
hour flight. Well, 4 hour flight from here to Vegas.
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yeah.
about
So
that, maybe Arizona. But you know what I'm saying? Like I completely can empathize with her because I remember being a teenager who had very big feelings, who felt really vulnerable in finding out. And like, of course, I came round and we all hung out together and it was completely fine. But like at the time, I was like, I don't want to share my friend. I don't want something that was mine to be now someone else's. And it is egotistical and it is selfish. But at the same time, when you're in those big feels, you can't think past your own self. And granted, they dated for 7 years, but then obviously it did blow up our friendship.
and you lost, yeah.
Yeah, after being friends
Well,
for
and
over
when I
10
was
years.
young, when we met Carol Lee and we became friends with Carol Lee, my sister and I were so close in age. It was like the three of us, right?
Hmm.
And we wanted to be sisters. So it was like, but our brothers were like 6 years older than us. So it was like, ooh, yeah, you can't date my brother.
But like as adults, we can rationalize, oh, she's being selfish or she's being crazy.
Right.
I can't say that though, because I went through the exact same thing and felt completely and utterly betrayed.
Yeah. And I know, and what I'm saying is, I know the feeling of being wanting to be a sister of someone that, like, I dated her brother for all of 24 hours,
Hmm.
and I wasn't allowed to tell him because I wasn't like, well, I dodged. But he's the one that he tried to kiss me, and his breath was stinky, and he got mad at me and broke up with me. um,
I did that once, yeah.
so I was a prude, but really that was not the problem, guy. But we wanted to be sisters so bad, like that's how we thought we had to do it. We would have to marry her brothers. And like she had twin brothers. So it was like, okay, Mindy will marry one and I'll marry the other one. And I was seriously taken, but that didn't last long. But it's like, even when we came walking back from, we had gone on a walk and that's when he tried to kiss me. And when we came walking back and he'd already walked ahead of me because he was just done because I wouldn't kiss him, that Carolee was mad at me at first. Like, you're ruining the plan. I'm like, sorry, tell your brother to brush his teeth.
Yes. So like you can see Eloise in this moment. She's starting to do the calculations and wondering how long it's been going on. And I remember doing exactly that. I remember thinking through, oh, the first time that they saw my brother, the girls both commented how hot he was and like, oh, it was there the whole time and I didn't see it and how stupid am I? And like like you start thinking through every time that they were present and you start and you and I, Patty, are both ruminators. We are pattern
Mm-hmm.
seekers, and so we start over analyzing, and that just works ourselves into those big feelings. And like granted, I don't really do that anymore because I have a toddler. I don't have the energy or time to ruminate so much. But teenage me had some big feel. So I know exactly what she was going through in that moment, and you kind of just need downtime on your own, or actually, we're external processors, and Eloise is 100% an external processor, and so you can see her like trying to muse it out in the next scene, which we probably won't even make our way through today. But you can see her trying to like muse it out with Cressida, like how long's it been going on, and she needs to talk it out, and she needs to talk it out. But the ironic thing is the person that she needs and wants to talk it through with is Penelope, but she can't because she just needs someone who's going to sit there and let her externally process it through herself. And she can't do that with Penelope.
Well, and I think that in this whole exchange, there's a unique moment where you see what their friendship has been up until this point, and you
Yes.
see it shift.
Hmm.
And that is where she goes, "You cannot marry him."
Yes. Well,
Because there
I've got
was
a
no
full thing about it.
there was no compunction behind it. She felt fully justified that she gets to tell Penelope what to do. And I
Uh
think because most of their friendship is she's told Penelope what to do.
well,
And Penelope's always done it. Only this time Penelope looks to the side and changes the subject. She's
well,
like, I'm not giving up my man.
Eloise questions first, like, have you told him that you are Whistledown? And Penelope, please just shut up, girl. Inside voices, like,
No, that was after. Like she goes, my brother. Like, how long have you been? Like, how long have you had feelings for him? And then she's like, you
yeah,
cannot marry him.
yes,
And so it's all about being the fact that
yes,
it was her brother. And
yes.
but it's
And then Lady
she
Whistledown
wanted to be
secondary.
sisters. She wanted to be sisters, and Penelope did not have brothers. So the only way they'd really be sisters is if she married one of her brothers.
Yes.
So
Well,
I
I
think
know.
it fell down the path of we've been friends forever and you didn't tell me.
I think
Her reaction to Penn and Colin is exactly Colin's reaction to Whistledown. That
yes.
was
Well,
both of their moments of I've known you for years.
I think
How did you never tell me this?
this was a bit of an homage to the book reaction from Eloise, who is really happy for Penelope, but at the same time she goes a little bit funny on Penelope for quite a while, and Penelope can't quite realize figure out why, and it's
Mm-hmm.
because Penelope's like, look, I know it's not fair, but I kind of thought we'd be spinsters together forever. And it's not like she thought that Penelope wasn't worth marrying. She did. She just didn't think that Penelope was interested in marriage. And so she thought they were going to grow old together. And she was okay being a spinster and never marrying and never having that person because Penelope was her person in a completely platonic way. And so she's like, oh, well, crap.
Yeah.
Now my plans to grow old with you have completely gone out the window. And do I have to find someone now? Like, you've thrown my entire life plans out the window. And so I think this was a little bit of that moment of you were my person and now you're someone else's person. Like, we're fighting and like we still had time for it to come right. And now you're never ever going to be just mine ever again because even if we fix
Yeah.
this,
Our
you are
friendship
now
has changed
you are now Colin's.
irrevocably.
We
Yeah.
can never go back to how we were because you are now Colin. And it's not to say that any one person belongs to anyone, but I do understand that feeling of it can never be the same again. I now have to share you all, whatever.
Yeah.
But this moment is especially impactful because is basically season one completely reversed on Penelope, where Penelope was telling Marina she could not marry him. He is a good man, you cannot do this to a good man. And Eloise is saying, he isn't dabbling. He would not be gone for months years at a time. Like, he is Colin. He is good. You cannot do this to him. Like, it is
And what's
literally
funny is
season one.
I took that same scene. It's that same
Yeah.
scene, but I took it differently where Eloise is Marina. But instead of it being Colin doesn't think of you that way, he sees you as Eloise or even little Hyacinth. Like you're a child to him. You are a baby. He doesn't view you as a woman. Eloise is saying he can't, if he doesn't know the real you, he can't love you.
Yes.
So where she originally in season one from Marina was getting, he'll never think of you like that. And I'm starting to see, and remember, this is her recollection as she's writing Whistledown. We are not seeing real time, in my opinion. So I think this is almost like we are hearing how Penn talks to herself.
The worst,
right?
The worst of her own insecurities.
Yes, this is her insecurity. She got Colin now. He has announced the engagement. She knows they're going to get married, but she still doesn't believe he can love her because of Whistle. He can say he loves her, but he doesn't know. And I almost feel like this isn't really Eloise saying that. And Eloise was so upset that, and we'll never know, because like you and I having this conversation are going to walk away with your experience and my experience, right?
Yes.
Like I just had a text conversation during my icky day yesterday with Smaug where I said, like, I always got the vibe your mother did not like me. And he's like, I don't think that's really.
Mama's boy didn't pay attention.
Oh, he is not a mama's boy for sure.
Well, she treats him like he is.
He is caring for her. Like he takes care of everything for her.
Yeah. But, that's what I mean.
But he hears about, I don't want to get too specific.
No.
Just in case she likes Bridgerton and whatever. Listen to you never know. But he hears about other family members and what careers they have and what their houses look like and that, yes. So, and it's like he can't have a phone conversation. And what was funny because he goes, it happens every single phone conversation. I'm like, just kidding. Do you know how many times my mom repeated the same thing over and over and over? His age. Not because she really feels that way or she's really saying she's disappointed in you. She can't remember anything else to say. Like you just might be at that point now.
But going back to the point was I was actually really, really, and I hope that this is just Penelope and her interpretation of what happened, not what actually happened, because if it is what actually happened, is incredibly cruel with Eloise yelling at Penelope, Colin could not possibly love you. Like, and
there's
wasn't
no way.
And it wasn't
was right at the door. He walked right out when she walked away. He had to.
He would have heard that. And she didn't say he could not possibly love you if he knew the truth. It was he could not possibly love you as a person, as you stand, as a whole being. He could not possibly love you.
If he doesn't know the real you, he could not possibly love you.
Yes.
Meaning him saying he loves you now is a lie.
Yes. And like that to me was just like I felt like hearing that sentence, and it wasn't even aimed at me. I felt like someone punched me in the gut. Like it was such a cruel and heart-wrenching thing to say to someone that you love. And those are the kinds of things that like she should have apologized for when they came back together. Like, I'm so sorry that I told you that he couldn't possibly love you. He's loved you his whole life.
Yes. What if she didn't say it? What if Penn is thinking it as she's writing and yes, I'm saying Eloise was a little like, my brother, I'm pretty upset. I mean, she gave Colin the same stuff later where she's like, and you should have told me you were going to propose to my friend before you tripped into the drawing room engaged, right? That's more of Eloise's delivery.
Before you tripped
it's
up
not
skirts.
the same. Yeah, it's not, the delivery is different. And yes, it's very painful. But I do think that because this was a memory being recalled, I think that she remembered it from her framing of always being devalued and demeaned in her own home and always being told Colin wouldn't waste his ink on you. Colin doesn't think about you any more than he thinks of Eloise or even Hyacinth.
Yeah.
It is a fantasy. Like Marina said, it is a fantasy and it will never come true. And now it came true. Her fantasy came true. And now Eloise is like, he could not possibly love you.
But this is the worst part
Because
is
back then, marriage doesn't always happen for love.
but
A lot of times it's
but
business.
Eloise is saying Colin couldn't possibly love you. A feeling that she has had her whole entire life that no one will ever truly love her. And this is
Mm-hmm.
coming from the only person who she has ever felt truly loved by, is
Yep.
saying that to her. Well, I don't love you. I found out the real you, and I don't love you anymore, so no one
Yep.
could. The only person who's ever been in her corner her whole life
Exactly.
is stripping that. Like, it's not like she was just saying Colin couldn't love you. This was her saying, I found out who you
I
are and
stopped loving
I
you.
stopped loving you. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the worst part is Penelope doesn't even deny it. She's not like,
She's like, you're
I know
right.
that there's a part of me that
And
has
that
hurt you,
broke
but you
me.
still love me. Like, she doesn't even try to fight it. She's so used to being beaten down by her family that she just,
Mm-hmm.
yep, that sounds about right. That this is my life.
Because
This is
she
all my
doesn't,
life has ever been.
because Penelope doesn't feel lovable.
Yeah,
She's never been lovable. She doesn't even get physical affection from her own family.
yeah,
They never say anything positive about her to her ever, ever.
yeah,
To the point that when the girls point out that their mother had to have paid for the party, Penn gives her that moment
yes,
and she deserves it. But I think that if Penn would have said it was her, she's not ready to. I mean, she could have told her sisters before the reveal, but she didn't.
yeah.
She could have said, no, no, guys, I paid for it. I'm Lady Whistledown.
Hmm.
But could you imagine their reactions then? It would have been, it's one thing coming from their mother and to think she finally did for them. It
Hmm.
would have been a completely different thing for Prudence if she found out Penn paid for
I
it all.
feel like we'll talk about it another day when we get close to that episode, but I
When we
feel
get
like
to that episode,
I
yeah.
feel like Prudence would actually see it as an insult somehow because this was something that she
That's what I'm
finally
saying. Coming from Penn.
she finally felt like she did something, like she put this ball together.
Mhm.
She acted as the lady of the house essentially, or the two girls. They finally got
because
to
because Penn was married to the Bridgerton. The
mm,
Bridgertons are loaded. They didn't
yeah,
even think for a second. They said, you must have paid for all this. Penn could have easily, she now is part of Colin's trust
yeah,
fund. She
yeah.
could have easily gone to Benedict and asked for the money. How much did she put in that wallet? Like a regular ball cost about $500 back then. So we're going to say like what, $1,000 for
Yeah.
all of that?
Hmm.
She could have easily gotten
I
$1,000 out of the trust fund.
actually did the math a while back, and it was actually, yeah, a substantial. It wasn't 1,000. It was like $180 or something to throw a ball, depending on the size. If you had carried like all the people for the
Well,
carriages and
yeah, Danbury's balls, I think we looked at like the more extravagant ones could go upwards of 500. So like
yes,
having the performers and
yeah,
things like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So she had the butterflies would have been an exotic animal back then
yes.
because they were in the wild. They weren't capturing them really. That was a big ask. So I could see, I mean, even
And
if we said a
the
thousand
decor of
dollars,
the decor of the room was pretty extravagant.
very
I
extravagant.
would say that it would have
Ostrich
been
feathers.
I would say it would have been on price point with the Danbury ball.
Yeah. So
And she had to rent the
even if
space rather than having it at her estate.
and we don't know if Varley ended up giving her any money back, so we can assume $1,000
Yeah.
at least, like under $1,000 it was, but we don't know if it went all the way up to a
So
thousand. But Penn could have easily walked up to Benedict
yeah.
and said, "I need $1,000," and they would have been like, "Okay, Colin's wife," you know,
Okay,
his
Mrs.
expenditure,
Okay, Mrs. Bridgerton.
yeah, his expenditures for signatory purposes were well above that. But he could go in. He withdrew $2,500 in
Wait for
season
it.
two.
Wait for it. We've got Colin, Mr. Bumblebee Bridgerton, and we've got Minnie B because she's little. So she's the mini Bumblebee, Minnie B. I kind of
I
want to
better
call
see.
I want to call
I
her
want to
Minnie
see
B
a
from now
little.
on.
I want to see a little mini bee embroidered jumper from Violet for baby Bridgerton
Because
or baby Featherington.
But you know how we call her my little pocket pal? She's Minnie Bee and she's
Yeah,
a little bumblebee. Like Colin's the big bumblebee, like Daddy Bee
but you know
and
that
Baby
just
Bee.
that just makes me think of Austin
So cute.
Powers, Doctor Evil,
Don't
and Mini Me.
Minnie Bee. I know, but Minnie Bee. And it's just a little bee, but it's a bee. Fuzzy bee.
Colin B and his pocket pen.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Colin walks into the hallway to check on her then, and this scene really reminds me of the scene when Colin has proposed to Marina and they're in the hallway after Penelope tries to tell Colin. And Colin when Penelope tries to tell Colin that actually, the affections and
Marina's
yeah.
preggers.
So that scene, really reminded me of this one, except when Colin proposed to Marina, it's day and night to how he's looking at Penelope now. Like, Marina was saying everything that she
Right.
was supposed to
All the right
say.
words. Yeah.
And he took it as authentic, but at the same time, nothing in his body language, nothing in his aura kind of showed an excitement or happiness or elation. Whereas in this moment when he's standing there with Penelope, even though there is like this rift between his sister and his, to be bride and everything, he just seems so at ease, so calm, and so like this is like everything that I've ever questioned about life, whether I'm making the right choices. I don't have to question this choice. Like, this
Yeah.
is where like, I don't know how else to word it other
But
than like, he's
but you
home.
just made me think, like, up through Romancing Mr. Bridgerton and the church scene where she does finally tell him that she's loved him forever.
Yes.
He is fishing. He's
Hmm.
needing her to say she loves him, right?
Yes.
He needs to know she loves him because he doesn't think she loves him.
Oh, we've got a
He thinks
question.
she
Sarah, after listening to the latest podcast, Penelope, my question is to Patty and Tash. As you see Eloise as being audio ADHD, does that make the poor way that she treats Penelope okay? Or do you think Eloise needs to be made aware of her actions and how they affect people around her? Both. I think it makes us have a little bit more understanding as to why she is treating, because this kind of goes along with how she's just treated Penelope in this
right?
scene,
Yeah.
because it
Mm-hmm.
is very self-centered. It's very how it affects me. It is not at all thinking
Because her
of
emotions are so big.
heightened. Having ADHD doesn't excuse treating people badly, but it does mean that I think you give a little bit more time and space for repair than what you would typically with a neurodivergent person who would typically know a little bit better, have a little bit more
Neurotypical.
executive functioning. Sorry, neurotypical person have a little bit more executive functioning to realize, hey, actually, I need to get my stuff together and treat people in a certain manner. This isn't an appropriate way to treat those who I love, no matter what feelings I have. I think Eloise is still a teenager, and she is in her heightened hormonal era, as well as the ADHD. And I think that she has a lot of growing to do where she learns to process her emotions before she has the outbursts, not have the outburst, process, and then repair. I think that comes with time and growth, and I think that's why a lot of ADHD people really struggle in their formative years, because you've got hormones ruling all of your executive functioning.
Well, and your emotions are like, I am definitely ADHD. I'm suspect autistic, so I'm ADHD, and I'm very much that. When I'm a pretty patient person, though, like I have a really long fuse, but when I'm finally hurt, big hurt, I can lash out, and I'm a Pisces. I can push just the right button. So there's a lot of times that it's like, big emotion, then I process and think it through, and then I come back and go, you know what? I shouldn't have said this. I wish I'd have said that. And there is that moment of repair. And I'm almost half a century old. And honestly, I've done a lot of inner work and a lot of work on that, but it still is a thing. And it always will be with Eloise. There's always that part of just not, you don't know when your feels are going to get big,
Yeah.
right? And like you could be mad at somebody and it just doesn't hit you or affect you the same as another day when you're over your sensory overload and everything else, and somebody says something and it just gets you and you completely melt down. And I'm a lot like Eloise in terms of, like, I was thinking about this the other day. My older brother, like, I was known as bossy.
Mhm.
I was known as a child as bossy. I did not like, there were things that I could not, they were deal breakers for me. Like I couldn't sit in the back seat because I get car sick, and I would stay home. I tried to stay home at like 6 and 7 years old by myself, 5, 6, 7. And it finally got to the point where my mom's like, I was probably one of the youngest to be able to be left home alone. I mean, we got left home alone young. I mean, my sister was our babysitter, 9, 10, when I
Mm.
was a a toddler. She was like 12 when I remember her babysitting, right? But I was able to be left home alone. I think the first time was like 7, but I had to lock the door and I wasn't allowed to answer the phone. And I could watch TV, but I had to keep the volume low so nobody could hear it outside of. So like,
I've lost
but
the
I
thread.
wouldn't. Well, I'm just saying, like, I would not get in the seat and get in the back seat. So there's different things that my going undiagnosed, my family didn't understand about me that got described as a negative trait, negative
Yes. Yeah.
behaviors, that if there had been some accommodation, if there had been some understanding, I wouldn't have the negative self-talk voice in my head either.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't negate, like, and there are times we have a disagreement. I don't think we've ever blown up at each other.
No.
There's still time.
I
But
let you do your pods next.
you did. I got to go first. You didn't let me finish though, and you jumped in, but
Sorry.
it's okay.
I'm working on it.
I got to go first though. That's cool. But even like when I have felt like I've said something in a way, I look back at it and I reread every chat I do, every text I do, whole conversations, and I replay them over. And if there's something that, even if it reads to me, like when I'm writing it, I'm thinking it in my head how I would say it. I chat and text a lot of how I would speak it, but sometimes you just don't read something the same as somebody would say it.
Yeah.
So when I read it back, if it reads weird to me, I'll go, ooh, I'm rereading that and I don't like how it sounds. This is what I meant. And I come back, I even repair in conversations that are not heightened, that are not emotional, that are not argumentative. So I think that Eloise actually does the same thing. I think that what she says isn't always what she means. And when she recognizes that, she does come in and apologize. Like even with Colin, she's like, I'm not sure if we're okay. I'm going to ask.
Well, and even the Pretty Bridgerton fight, I feel like she was really hurt in the moment and then went away and maybe thought on the fact of, hey, actually, I went over there, I was barreling in, I didn't give the girl a moment to talk, and I didn't realize that she had something going on and I just barreled in. Like, I think she processes after the fact, but I also think that she has learning to do, that she is overlooking a lot because we still see her doing the same thing in season 3. And that's when she is
right,
at the most heightened emotion.
Everything she says in season 3, especially at the beginning, everything she says to Penelope about them still not being friends are the very words that Theo said to her. She has mixed the two things up together, which ADHD people do. One incident could be going on the same timeline as something traumatic that happens to you, and they both get barreled into the same emotion. And I just learned recently in my research that ADHD women, especially, they can relive the exact level of feeling even years down the road. If they start talking about something, they get just as hot, just as emotional over it. And people are always like, did this happen yesterday? I thought it happened 10 years ago. And I'm like,
I still feel
I'm
embarrassed about
just give me a minute.
I'm still overwhelmed and worked up about the fact that I sneezed and farted loudly in economics class in year 11.
I'm sorry that happened to you. It happened. It didn't happen to me. It happened to another girl in my class.
It was
in English. We were all silent reading in 9th grade English, and it was the only sound in the room.
I was holding in a fart when a big sneeze happened, and it wasn't just like a little. It was a
yeah,
and the whole class went silent, and then everyone cackled, and the teacher could not stop crying long enough. We basically we finished the class from there because there was no way to collect the kids after that kind of event. Like that right. Lives with me rent free in my brain 15 years later. Yeah, awful.
That's hilarious. No, and I can't even tell you how embarrassed I got for her. Like I mean, I wanted to vomit. I was so embarrassed for her. It didn't even happen to me.
One of the worst moments of my life. Lady Whistledown continued. Lady Whistledown's like, did you hear about that girl that farted in 2007? Lady Whistledown, regardless of how it happened, it is surely a wonderful time for the happy couple. How it happened? It is almost to me like Penelope is insinuating her own propriety was maybe thrown out the window to like throwing question to the air of how the night's events led to the engagement. It's pretty
She
scandalous, but
needs Portia to just let it happen.
it
Yeah.
also forces Portia's hand, like, oh, Lady Whistledown has now insinuating maybe something
Mm-hmm.
untoward has happened. I can't stop this
Mm-hmm.
marriage, otherwise my daughter's reputation is ruined. I have no choice in the matter now.
Oh,
Penelope is very
and
smart.
and I want to rewind because I didn't get to finish the
Oh,
thing I
sorry.
said about
Yeah.
Colin wanting her to say she loved him.
Yes.
And you actually made me think of it because you said it was like the hallway scene where she's trying to tell him Marina's
Yes.
pregnant, and then Marina is sitting there going, "Your family doesn't like me. It's obvious they don't like me." And that's when he came up with the Gretna Green thing, right?
Yeah.
And all will be well. All will be well. And she's, "I love you," and hugs him. So in this moment, like he legit is marrying someone that someone in his family right now hates her,
Yes.
right? And I say that in quotes because she doesn't really hate her. But it feels that way. There's
Yes.
conflict, and Colin doesn't like it. But he's like, all will be well. Like he's looking at her like, am I going to Gretna Green tonight? But he's looking at her like, be well.
But
And
he was,
he's waiting for her to say, I love you.
yes.
He wanted it then. He thought it would be just like
he
Marina,
was
only it
he was
wasn't.
very placating in that moment, like with
Mm-hmm.
sorry, with Marina he was very like, well, this is the things I know that you want me to say in order to make it better. But with Penelope, instead he's just using a really gentle tone. This is what she needs, let me just, we're together, that's all that matters. Like he
And as
drops
much
his
as
tone
Penn,
down to be so smooth,
not
like
just his
so
tone,
sweet.
his whole body. He is going to
Yes.
be, we've said it before, as much as he kisses his wife, he's going to be a hunchback man. But he's also going to be a hunchback man because she struggles to look him in the eye because of
Yeah.
her self esteem and everything. So he's always bending down, trying to look in her eye.
I
He
don't
is going
know.
to be a
I
hunchback.
don't know why, but I feel weak in the knees whenever I see scenes where the guy hooks a finger under the chin and just lifts the head up to
Mm,
kiss. I need that next season. Just like him just grabbing her chin and he's like,
yeah.
that's what I need for my
I
life.
need to see like kind of like outside the Modis where she steps up on the curb, only she steps up on the curb. They do it in a way for them to be face to face for the argument, but you can tell she steps up on the curb because to her he is larger than life. Like
Hmm.
he takes up so much space in her world, and she's wanting to give him plenty of space to just walk on by. But she wants to feel like an equal in that moment. But I want a scene where she wants a kiss where her toes don't hurt and his neck don't. And so she like he comes home, she hasn't, or maybe like Eloise's season, he comes home and he's been gone for a day and a half because they had to ride out there or whatever. And she just comes and runs and stands on a settee or something to be face to face, right? To be able to kiss him like full on.
That's so
Like, dang, my calves. She's gonna have the most muscular calves ever. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. Do you want to finish off this episode by discussing the tree?
Yes, this is the first time. This is the first time we see the stormy tree. And at first,
The Bridgerton tree, in the intro,
the Bridgerton tree. Yeah, because
kind of.
everything we've seen up to this point leads up to the intro. But this is the first time, and it was a choice where they had the stormy sky and the windblown tree, and it could like
Trouble in
could
Paradise.
something happen to the tree?
Yes.
And I mean, first of all, there's a
Can
formula.
can the tree weather the storm?
Yeah. But I also, and we've talked about it before, that I think that even though Penn is not a Bridgerton, Lady Whistledown, Penelope's been part of the family for so long. She is a part of the fabric of that tree. And she and Colin are the part of the roots of the whole friends to lovers thing that started the Bridgerton clan.
Yes.
So the blowing of the tree is, oh my gosh, is this mantle going to crumble? Right?
Have we grown our roots deep enough to weather this? Because realistically, it doesn't matter how tall a tree is, the taller it is, if you have not set down proper roots, if you have not put down proper roots, you will rip straight out of the ground.
Yep, the roots grow, and that's most of your gardening 101 will tell you. Like you're not going to see height, and that's the difference between an annual and a perennial. When you plant your annuals, they grow and bloom super quick, but that's because they don't grow a lot of roots because they live for 1 year.
Yeah.
But your perennials, the first year you plant them, and that's why you always buy your perennials when there's already blooms on them, because as soon as you plant them, they're not going to bloom again that year usually, and they're going to stay the same size, and they don't start growing till the next season because they have to establish their root system
Well, and
first.
any good gardener knows that fruit trees for the first few years, at least 1 to 2 years, especially like blueberries, and
Lemon.
those lemons, you pull the fruit off as soon as it forms. You take the buds off because you need it to put its energy into growing the roots and sustaining a healthy base before you allow it to start fruiting. You cannot have a good lifelong fruiting tree if you do not set up the proper root
Yeah,
system.
my brother planted a lemon tree when he first started. Like he created a garden. He calls it it's
Secret
named
garden.
after my mother. No, it's named after my mother. It's her
Cute.
memorial garden. It's
Mhm.
what he does. It's what he did in the first year to combat. But yeah, so my thoughts on the tree is at first I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then as I rewatched and rewatched and rewatched the second half, I'm like, I hate that. There was no need to do
Foreboding.
that.
No.
Bridgerton is romance. If you're calling it romance fantasy,
Stop
Regency
stressing us out.
fantasy, historical fantasy, I don't need to see that tree blowing in the wind.
No,
Like,
stressing
stop
us
it.
out. Let's have a look. Our next episode, we are going to get to cover Benedict Lady Tilly, Featherington House, Danbury House. I don't know how much of this we're going to get through.
Well, first of all, Bridgerton Bros
No,
kind
Bridgerton
of need to
Bros
be there.
is that's 2 episodes. Like that's a
Their own
minimum of 2 episodes away.
Bridgerton Bros is their own episode.
So
I think the takedown and the mirror scene might be able to go together.
I think so.
Might.
We're gonna have Benedict and Lady Tilly because they're the first ones at the ton to find that we see finding out. Then Featherington
Mm-hmm.
House, that Penelope and Portia, the
Yeah,
first.
that episode is just everybody finds out.
Yes, Danbury finding out, the
And
Queen finding out.
up through Kate and Anthony coming home and them finding out. I think they're
Well, I don't even think we're gonna get. We are the Tangent Queens, Patty. That is,
true.
yeah.
Well,
No,
and
let's
Anthony
not be too
finding out has
ambitious.
to kind of go with Bridget Bros.
Yes. So, yeah, no, I've actually got like a good 4 episodes written. I was like, oh, this is maybe an episode or two. No, I
Mm-mm.
forgot how much we tangent. Today's been
We
particularly bad.
actually did like no,
We
today's
do.
2 hours, which is normal for us.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
It's a good
And let
episode.
me, let me, let
We did
me.
not tangent that much.
No. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have anything in particular you would like us to cover, because we will still throw in some oddball episodes here and there now, instead of just doing straight analysis of episodes, we may throw in the odd one. If you have any requests, please let us know. Or
Something
any
strikes our
Bridgerton.
fancy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what we forgot to do?
What's that?
We gotta when we're done here, we have to nip it for pots. We had a sponsor,
Ooh,
so do you want to just say it now and then cut it in, or finish then?
in today's sponsor.
So sorry, Susan. Sorry for not putting it in Pod Snacks, but Susan is our Pod Snacks sponsor. We'll just let her say she sponsored the whole episode because
Was Anne not a pod snack sponsor today as well?
no, Pod Snacks is for Buy Me a Coffee,
I thought it was on there.
and that was Susan.
Oh, that was Patreon.
Um,
Yeah.
And Anne, we now have 3 Patreon subscribers. Thank
Ooh,
you, Anne.
coming up in the world.
Yeah, so Susan sponsored Pod Snacks, and we're just gonna give her the whole episode. And Anne sponsored the episode, but not Pod Snacks because that's by me.
Yes.
It's also confusing.
If you have anything in particular you would like to share, please head to the Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you're enjoying our podcasts, please remember to click like, follow, and leave comments wherever you are listening.
Yes, and once again, thank you for listening to Things of Two Mad Women
Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi.
and Lady Patty.